Hey everybody, it's Dr. Lusheen, and this is the review for Module 2 or Week 2, which we just completed. So first, what did we talk about? The first 3 weeks are very foundational to this. We're reading kind of the original works, try to bring in maybe a few other things, but for the most part, I'm still trying to build up to what is the Week 5, kind of the crescendo or the peak of what I'd want to get to in this course. But management commitment, employee engagement, safety culture, safety climate. I think you guys really enjoyed these topics. A lot of you who are out there working, have been working for a while, can relate to these things, how important they are. And I think as we go through, I want to deconstruct these basic ideas, just so you get a better concept of if we want engagement, can we have that if they don't trust management? Can we have that if management blames? Things like that. And so we've got one more week of foundational stuff, and then we're going to start ramping things up. But I think you guys pretty much got it. So first of all, overall, great job. Here are the performance stats. Everything is up. For discussion assignment, the average is 94, 96 for this last week. First week is 89 for both. For his number of posts for the discussion board, which is a big part of this class because it's seminar-like, you guys it went from a 5.5 average per student post up to a 7.6. And you can see the breakdown. Pretty good spread. Not bad. Not bad at all here. You guys really got into it. And so thank you. That's what I want. Even though I don't reply to a lot of the things, when I see you guys are doing a really good job of asking for clarification, sharing personal experience, and always relating it to the literature that is assigned, that's what I want to see. And so I go in and I read everything, but just sometimes it's like I don't also want to be the person who comes in and like pushes people out of the way and goes, I'm right. And so I like when the discussion is organic. It's when it gets stale that I'll probably engage a little bit more, or if it seems like it's a little bit if it challenges my beliefs, I'll maybe speak up more. For the most part, I think you guys are doing great. So the only thing is a few of you still are not completing the whole part of the assignment. You're supposed to summarize, review each of the papers that are assigned and the videos and any web links that are provided, because later on I'll be providing some web links. Just a summary, and make sure you have a subheading of what it is you're reviewing. That just helps me grade faster. Some of you, you're only providing 1 or 2 sentences. Please provide a little bit more than that. Some of you are providing a whole page. That's awesome. You don't have to do that much. But I just want to see evidence that you are kind of reading it, understanding the main gist of it. And then try to, answer one of the 3 reflective questions, both referring to the content of the lecture and some of your personal experience. That's the best I can say. Again, I'm trying to give you guys feedback, specific feedback to help you. If I just say excellent or great job, then you're probably doing everything I want and more. One thing I want you to remember is that it's not the peak that we're climbing to that's the goal. It's the journey. And it's what you learn, how you transform during that journey that is really worth the trip. So we started in week 1, foundations of work organization, design, and safety. This past week, we did management commitment, worker engagement, organizational culture. This week, we're doing human factors, human error, and work system model. Next week, we're doing issues with level and organizational research, sociotechnical systems, and HOP. And then in week 5, we get up to the leading indicators. Actually, Safety Differently HOP would be here now, I think. I think I moved it over, and it's all about the data. So it's a little bit off, but do you see how it is? I don't mean it to be going down and back up again, but rather the journey. That's, we're kind of building off of the previous week. Here are the readings for this week. It's kind of almost week 2 is kind of my favorite ones, but these really challenge it. Like the number 5, the Cox et al. Paper, changed the way I really practice and think about safety. I love DeJoy. I love the way he writes. Smith and Sanford were mentors of mine in grad school. So all really good set of stuff here. Here's the discussion board posts. I really like to talk about blame. perception of manager commitment, trust, organization, job satisfaction, work motivation. I think I've said this before. The way I practice safety is not sending everybody home at the end of the day. I don't like that. It doesn't really mean much. What we're trying to do is help the workers get their job done effectively, as safe as possible, and hopefully elicit satisfaction from the work they do. In pursuing those three elements, hopefully I can send people home the same condition and maybe a little bit better, because they're proud of what they did and they're proud of the, where they work. They're able to do it in a way that they could meet their production demands and remain safe. I think that's better. You've already probably read all these. Again, I'm just sort of challenging you all to kind of talk about these topics, and we're building up to something much bigger. Now, what I really am excited about is I want to share with you a few videos like I did last week, but these are not of me.
Gerstner came into IBM when IBM was on the ropes. IBM was really struggling. In fact, there was some thought that they were going to go bankrupt. And even the U.S. government, those many years ago, was looking and saying, we can't have one of our blue chip stock companies go under. So Gerstner comes in, turnaround guy. He comes in to see what kind of changes he can implement. Ultimately, he, with obviously the way that always works, with the help of a lot of other people, made some changes. IBM got back on its feet again. He wrote a book about it called Who Says Elephants Can't Dance? Because that's what IBM was at the time. You remember the old IBM? Some of y'all may have even worked there, but you got guys that march around in little suits and everything, and they all looked the same and did the same. He came in and broke that up. He said this about IBM. He said, when I got to IBM, I knew that culture was an important part of the game, along with strategy, along with vision, along with planning, along with all these other things. He said, when I got halfway through the project at IBM, I figured out culture was not an important part of the game. It was the game. If you don't change the culture, you're not going to change the company. Talk about a couple of company culture killers. I had a professor before, he used to ask a question: how much cow dung does it take to spoil a bowl of ice cream? I did the keynote for the International Association of Ice Cream Distributors and Vendors this last year. And I asked him that because it's all these ice cream vendors. Afterwards, you go into this big hall and there's ice cream everywhere, just as much ice cream as you can possibly eat. So I told him that, they thought that was funny. And then I made a Bluebell reference. They groaned at me, they said, too soon. And I definitely shouldn't do that in Dallas, so we're just gonna skip that. How much cow dung does it take to spoil a bowl of ice cream? So my question for you is, how many poisonous employees or low performers does it take to spoil a company? Not very many, just one. They actually did a study and they asked managers what is the highest motivator for people at work. And they talked about things like money, benefits, vacation, bonuses, that sort of stuff. And one other thing in there was the ability to get things done, the ability to get work done. The managers ranked that dead last, number 6. They said money was the top of the game. Guess what everybody else, where the people that were not managers rated that? Number 1. Let me come to work and do a great job. Now let me give you some real life numbers. 85% of the people say they either hate their job or strongly dislike their job. There's a 15% employee engagement rate across the globe, right? And now catch this, only 16% of executives say their culture is where it needs to be. Now here's the reality. Culture is strategy. Culture is profitability. There was a Harvard study that showed when you get your culture right, you can see an increase of 756% to your net profitability over the course of 10 years. Now, who wants to see an increase of 756% to your net profitability? Culture is a strategy. It's not just a tack on. It's not another thing. If you look at companies that are extremely successful, what do they focus on? They focus on culture.
Okay, so I wanted to share that. All these kind of linked into what we talked about last week and what we're going to be talking about and reading about this week. I think most importantly, I want you to understand that if safety can demonstrate to management that we are contributing to the profitability, that we're contributing to the morale of workers, that we're contributing to the consistency and reliability of work, at the same time as getting the workers engaged and having them take pride in their work, then there's no stopping us. Okay? Talk to you later this week. Please try to attend the office hours or discussions if you can. We had 3 people show up last Wednesday. One Sunday evening. I really love just sort of talking to you guys about whatever you want to talk about. So please feel free to come join us.